Hello, friends. Welcome to the Ancient Health Podcast, where East meets West. I'm your host, Dr. Chris Motley, and today I want to talk to you about sneaky hidden mold that could be in your home. And that sneaky mold slash fungus could be creating these softer symptoms, things that you think are just natural as we age, such as a chronic cough that does not go away, or phlegm that's in the back of your throat that always makes you have to clear your throat, like a post-nasal drip feeling. And you don't know where it came from. It came out of the blue. Or mucus that keeps coming down through your sinuses or up from the lungs, and you have to hawk a loogie. Have you ever had to do that? Or when you wake up, you feel like you have to spit out a big piece of snot. Or even problems breathing, where you feel as though you cannot do the exercise that you used to because your chest is tighter, you can't get a full breath in, or you feel like you actually run out of breath and you can't do it like you used to. Do you feel that way? Is it hard for you to go up and down the stairs and you feel like you're just out of breath, or that you're an air eater, that you actually sigh a lot or breathe in heavier? And if you've had these types of symptoms and you're starting to notice that they could lead into serious problems or more serious symptoms, such as chronic bronchitis, chronic sinusitis, sinus problems that never go away, or allergies. Have you developed seasonal allergies? And those allergies are accompanied by high histamines, or even problems such as hives, rashes, eczema, skin problems, itchy scalp. And with these types of symptoms, are you noticing any muscle weakness? Problems with your memory loss. I can't remember what happened yesterday. I can't remember that person's name, that person I just met. I'm having muscle weakness. I'm having migraines. I'm getting eye flashes. I'm getting tinnitus. I'm getting these neurological symptoms. And we all think it's just us getting older, but it's kind of scary. Now, when all of these come together, remember, this is not to be scary. This is actually give you hope and give you some insight, because if these are the symptoms that are accompanying each other, we need to search mold. We need to research it. We need to find out if this is the problem. With all of these things I just mentioned, let's say you just moved into a house and the house smelled musty. Maybe it's an older house. Or that it smells like old potato chips, as they say in the mold world. Or they smell like, seriously, musty feet. Or the carpet within the house has a real musty scent to it. This could be a sign that there could be mold slash fungus growing within the house or on the organic material, such as the carpet, the drywall, or the wood inside the walls. If you notice this, if you're in a new house, because new houses could carry it too, and the new house was not wrapped properly, the wood frame, or was left exposed too long as it was being built, and it rained, and the water within the wood caused mold to grow. If you're in a high moldy area, like in Middle Tennessee, they're always doing construction, and there's dirt and dust in the air, and there's mold floating around, and it likes to attach to wood and to drywall and eat up organic materials within those structures. If you notice that, even in a new house, maybe you notice that there's water damage in your house, water damage within the walls. There's black mold flecks on the tile grout. Have you noticed that? Grout has mold all over it. You have to consider that there could be mold hiding within the walls and could be giving off spores and giving off toxins that could be infiltrating your body, whether it be on the skin, through the skin, in your nose, in your eyes, in your ears, even breathing it in. Furthermore, if a mate or a partner or a pet had it, you can transfer it back and forth. So please don't take this podcast as negative and being fearful or scary. This is for you to put the pieces together, because yes, patients could have things like Lyme disease. They could have infections such as candida type fungus, or they could have parasites. And some of these symptoms could come to them because the infections could be in the lungs, or in the sizes. That is the truth, yes. But if you noticed that these types of symptoms occurred after you moved into a particular living space, or that you've been in a particular space for a long time, and you notice these small, subtle symptoms building up, getting worse, then you need to pay attention and rule out mold. And the reason I'm so very much adamant about touching in on mold is because now there are such great testing modules to actually help you identify it. So you can write this down or re-listen to this part, but now there's great testing that you can get checked for. Mycotoxin testing, MYCO toxin testing, to see which mold toxins are in your body. Oats testing, organic acid test, types of testing. Very similar. Mycotoxin testing and oats testing, which test for different types of acids and toxins that the mold and fungus give off in your body. And they release them in your body. And they can be built up either in your kidneys, they could be built up in your liver, they could basically store within tissues of your body. But one of the best ways to find out is through your urine, because your body's trying to filter them out. So you'll see a urine sample that has all these toxins within it. If it's high, I know that there's high mold activity in your body. And so now you have the ability to look for the mold toxin testing, and you could see if it's in your body and it's causing a problem. So you have the testing here and you can rule it out. If it's not mold, the other two I really focus in on, or three, I'm sorry, is heavy parasite infection. And I'm looking more into using old school parasitology testing. And there's up in New York, there's a place up there that actually takes your poop and puts it underneath a microscope and checks it. Or looking for hidden Lyme disease like Borrelia or Babesia parasite Lyme disease. And the last is going to be chronic viruses such as COVID or Epstein-Barr virus. Now, I know that's a lot to search for, but if you write those down, those are my main things that I search for if a person has a chronic condition and they're not getting any type of resolution. Even as a practitioner, if you're having a problem and you think, well, they just moved into a house, they have these problems, they have high mold count in their body, the next thing you would do is have them get immunolytics. IMMUNOLYTICS. Immunolytics is an auger plate, a little test plate that you can go swipe things around your house, the air vents, around the base of like the toilet, anything, like different places in your house. And you put that in the little testing plate and you let it grow. And I'm going to tell you, I have seen things of other life forms grow on these plates. It is crazy. I had a patient, and I'm going to tell her story in just a second. And let's just say it is so severe. I've worked on her for so long, and I'll tell you how she got it. But basically, she did these tests. I told her to do it in every part of the house. And the amount of fungus that grew on these plates from every single room was so severe, I had to imagine that these were growing inside of her lungs. No wonder she had extreme weight gain, inflammation within her tissue, constant phlegm, coughing, snot, and mucus that was always in her tissue. And her metabolism would not even get stronger. She could not lose weight. She was always tired. Her kids were lethargic. They were losing like their excitement. They were actually having skin rashes. And the plates did not confirm what was inside of her, but I have to assume that since it was on the plate, they were breathing it in because it was in every single room of the house. So could you imagine that you are a person that is doing your best to work out, you're doing your best to exercise, you're eating right, you're doing all the things. I know you guys are out there and you're listening, you're like, yes, that's me. That's me exactly. I'm eating well, but I can't lose weight. It's not all about weight, guys, but I'm just saying I can't lose weight. I can't get my metabolism up. I have no energy. My sleep is off. I'm chronically congested, talking around through my throat. I'm always getting a cold, like I'm always having some kind of allergic reaction. And you notice your kids are getting sick too, and you think, wow, is this mold? Yes, it can be. Now, let me give you a quick example, okay? excuse me, I'm always cautious because when I'm in the office, in the clinic, when I tell a story, I'm always that kind of personality that's like chip, chop, chip. Let's get to the point. And I love stories. But let me give you a quick story of this patient I just talked about. So I've known this patient for a very long time. And she has been through the ringer. She is a person who will take health into her own hand. And you guys who are listening, if you've taken health in your own hand and you're doing your best, kudos to you. I applaud you. She did. She literally had most of her pancreas and her spleen removed during this freak accident from this portion of a pool at she was a swimmer, and the chlorine from this device on the pool literally blew up in her face, and it put chlorine all through her body, like literally sprayed it up in her face. She got super sick, had to go to the hospital, literally almost died. Had most of her spleen and part of her pancreas removed. I mean, literally, it wrecked her. All that to say, she fought back. She ate well. She ate clean. She's a healthcare practitioner now because of her journey. And she got sick, but she got cleaned up, got all the inflammation out of her body. She removed all the stuff by taking the right herbs, doing the right lifestyle. She trimmed up the way she wanted to because she's a college athlete. She felt great and got married, had kids, and moved into a particular home. And all these problems started to occur. I've been treating her for a long time. She's a friend of mine. And even I was saying to myself, there has to be something that's going on because I've treated people and I can get pretty good results. I'm going to say, like, over the years, I know if I can help somebody in a quick amount of time. And if a person keeps having phlegm or mucus, or they just keep having sickness, and they also are emotional, not saying emotions cause it, I'm not saying that, but they're super emotional. They can't get rid of their anxiety. They can't get rid of this fatigue, this emotional weight, like, I am just not getting better. What's going on? When I saw that, I was saying something else is going on. So I don't dismiss. I never do that. You can never do that as a practitioner. You can't dismiss it. You have to find if there's something missing. And her kids were starting to have rashes. And her kids, when they come in, I want you to know this, there's a few things in Chinese medicine. I always show my Chinese medicine doll, if you guys are listening, but I want you guys to listen. If you have a spleen issue, that means the lymph in your body is not moving at 100%. It's slow. It's lethargic. You'll have weight gain. You'll have puffiness. You'll have inflammation. Her children weren't having any type of like weight gain, but they were having inflammation and puffiness, and they were very emotional. But they were noticing they were getting skin rashes easier, and they were getting constipated very quickly. And every time I checked them, the little spleen 21 points, like right here on the Chinese medicine doll, right on the side of the ribs, spleen 21 would always be super tender on them. And the little area on the inside of their ankle, which is a little spleen point on the inside, would always be inflamed. It happened on the mother. It happened on the father. Now, this was happening on the children, and their sleep was being disturbed to the point that she was telling me that the children would be waking up many times during the night, not sleeping throughout the night. They would get constipated. They wouldn't use the restroom, and they would just literally be like, they would cry all of a sudden. They would be hysterical at some points. But then they would sort of lighten up and they'd be back to their old self again. So the kids kept showing up different viruses. Every time I did testing on them, they would have different types of bacterial frequencies that were showing, and we would make good leeway and they would feel a little better, and so would the mother, but they'd always have this black cloud over their body. Well, come to find out, they had bought this house. They were doing construction on the house, and they had to, and somehow I think a window had been left open or something of that sort, and water had leaked so badly through and flooded inside the house that it actually caused the walls had to be repaired and had to be taken out. I'm saying they had to be replaced. So they had to tear open the walls literally, and they had like tarp over their house where it was almost exposed, the backside of the wall. And so they, for a while there, as they were doing construction, wind was blowing things in, even with the tarp there. And, sometimes water would get in from the rain. And they did everything, did it really well. But she was saying, do you think that mold could have got into the house? Because there's so many mold spores here in Tennessee, could have seeped through that tarp or around it and landed on the organic material, the wood and the drywall. Possibly. Yeah, I said, that's a big possibility, yes. So she was being an inspector and she was guessing this could be a problem. And I was telling her, okay, this is what we need to do. You and I put our heads together. I need you to go and rub the vents with a wet paper towel, a damp paper towel, rub around the vents, see if you can get some of the dust on the wet paper towel and maybe around the vents on the floor. And I'll put it into a little frequency machine that tests for frequencies off certain material. And let's see what we can find. And when she did that, yes, we did. We found mold. We found high amounts of mold and fungus. Now, if you take it to a medical doctor, they would say, well, that's not really enough evidence for me to consider giving somebody an antifungal, anti-mold, or testing it in different ways, like within the blood, because there are blood tests that can test for mold toxins. So we found it, and I started to look for it in her children, and sure enough, they had it too. And I put, the pieces together, and I'm thinking, well, this could be actually a big mold issue. And literally, she said, well, I'm going to go and my friend, Dr. Leibowitz, Dr. Noah Leibowitz, he loves immunolytics, and I've had patients use it, these auger plates, these plates that test for different infections within your house, especially mold. And so she went and she tested every single room in the house because she goes, I don't know what to do. Because after a while, after I tested those damp paper towels, I said, I think it's in high amounts because you should be getting better. If you're not, something is continuously infiltrating your body and continuously inoculating your system with the infection. Every single plate has so much mold in it. It is ridiculous how much. And she goes, do you think that's the issue? And I was like, I really do believe it is. And the reason that I know is because after she gets oats testing, and so did the children, that their mold toxicity, the mold toxins, are in such high amount in their urine that there has to be a direct, infection, a direct inoculation. So if the mold is spread throughout the ventilation system or in the house, getting it mitigated and going and getting it cleaned out can be quite costly. And some people have different ways of doing it. There are some people that use different types of, seriously, like mold bombs that they put into a house, or like ozone. And there's other people that use remediation. Now, I agree with all of them. It just depends on the amount of money that you have to be able to do that. But if it's really a detriment to your health, you have to be very considerate of saying, do I stay in this house or not? So she's at this quandary about what she should do. But the good thing is we understand that we believe we found where the real issue is. It's within this mold and fungus within her house, because those test kits were so heavily laden with it. Now, I want us to revert this back to you, that you are listening. If you are suffering like this and notice your kids suffering, if you've had issues, let's say you had every issue I told you about, but you notice that you have a little bit of anxiety, you have some or heavy anxiety or even depression, or your children do, I want you to please get that checked, even if it's going to get immunolytics test plates. You can look into mycotoxin testing or oats testing, OATS. Do people have certain amounts of fungus and certain types of bacteria, enough amount in their gut? Yes, but they at least test for the excessive amounts within the urine or within the body. And the reason I'm so adamant about this is because mold, it has defense mechanisms that will cause irritation to your nervous system. So you can get this testing if you suspect it, but remember, severe issues like within the body eventually can lead to neurological issues. Muscle weakness, muscle fatigue, violent outbursts. You see it in pandas as well within children, even in adults. Memory issues and the allergies. But there could be other infections in the body, yes. I want everybody there out there to listen. If you had old strep and old staph or old Lyme disease, could it trigger it? Yes, it definitely could. But if you know if your living situation in your home has it there and it's continuously infecting you, you have to really try to resolve it if possible. Or you may have to find different areas to live in, because I've seen such severe symptomatology from it. Now, When you see this type of condition arising in the body, it's because usually a person has a genetic tendency to be very sensitive to it. Why is it, now this is the next question that some people say, why is it that my husband or my family member, they don't have it, but I do? Okay, so this whole family I just mentioned had this issue. I had another family, they moved into a beautiful historic home in Franklin, Tennessee. It's awesome. But the mother had severe anxiety after she moved in. Her children got very lethargic, two of them especially, got very lethargic, brain fog, could not think straight, always asking, what, mom, what? And they would keep asking, repeating. She thought it was just bad memory or them just not paying attention. No, they literally could not keep attention. Their schoolwork was suffering. They were not being able to retain anything at school. Basically, fast forward, they had to get a mold biologist. You can find a mold building biologist. There's some in your area possibly. We have some here in Tennessee. There's one that's in Knoxville, and we'll put the link at the bottom of the show notes. And they found black mold hiding within the bathroom. They thought they had everything cleaned out before they even moved into the house, but they found it in that room and even in parts of the house around the bedroom and even in the carriage house. And this was where the mother and the children all felt especially sick every time they went into the room. Because what happens is if you feel this way and you're listening to this right now and you tell somebody that's like, oh, I feel really sick when I walk into a room, or I feel really, really tired when I get around this person or something of that sort, people say, oh, it's just in your head. Man, you're just thinking this up. Some people say, well, people think I'm crazy. Or if I tell a doctor that, they'll think, oh man, you're just, you're thinking things up. No, the HLA-DR, research that, HLA-DR gene is really one of the main genes that keeps you from processing mold toxins very well. And if you have a defect in this gene, you will have severe reactions to the mold. So the patient would feel like, they were like, I feel like I'm kind of going crazy right now. And it would actually make people feel manic because it's so much neurological toxicity in your system. Not only in your gut, but in your brain, because the gut transfers all the juices to the brain. So if you've had that situation, don't lose hope. If you have toxins of mold and fungus in your gut, it's definitely going to cause problems within your nervous system. People get twitches, they get little twitches and shakes, all from the infestation, and it could be coming from the house. So when you see like mold growing on the backdrop within your bathroom, what is it? They have all the tile looking great, but you see the grout having some mold in there, or behind a mirror in your bathroom. Do not take that lightly, especially old houses that are repainted over those areas. That's what they used to do. They just paint over the mold. That stuff grows and puts off fumes. All this to say, you have to be very attentive. But we don't want you to get hypervigilant where you're just sort of manic about looking at something going, oh, it has to be mold free. But the person's genes have been so injured by the mold that they're highly sensitive, and there's too much histamine in the blood now. So they can overreact to about everything. So the biggest thing is to get them out of the mold and to flush the mold and the toxins out of their system, out of their tissue. Now, this patient noticed that as we started to work with her, me and another doctor treated this patient and her family. And we noticed that when the patient started to clean out her house, she had to go through many rounds of it. She had to live in a hotel for a while because that's how sensitive she was. She literally says, I don't know why I'm anxious. I don't know why I can't breathe that well. Her husband was thinking it was him. And she was like, it's not. I can't breathe well. And I felt so bad for her, but that was the case. She had such severe mold toxin and inability to release the toxin out of her body. That's that HLA-DR. You cannot release the toxin well unless you start really feeding nutrients directly into your liver and into your kidneys, because that's where they accumulate. Now, you can use nutrients for it, but if you are out there and you're thinking, this is me, we had to see if we had to get this thing cleaned out of your house. We worked on the liver, the kidneys. We started cleaning out the mold. We started to desensitize her, which I love with homeopathics. That's my favorite. And with herbs. And now she's able to live in her house. She's able to prosper. We got the things cleaned out of her house. And now she has a new lease on life. And it's funny, her daughter actually has gotten into neurofeedback. Her other daughter is big into dance. Before, they would just feel too tired to do anything. And now their teachers are saying that they're thriving. all that from a fungus. And what we fail to realize is that, remember, in the old days, we weren't that attentive to it because we did not test for it. Now, I wrote down a little timeline about how they discovered mold, because think about it, like there was not, in the past, they did do some mold testing and fungal testing and parasite testing, but they used to do it all under a microscope. And they had to find the problem, so they would actually use microscopes to actually literally physically look at something, but they didn't have the technology we have today. But for instance, in the Middle Ages, they called it St. Anthony's fire, where the rye grain was contaminated with this type of mold. It's called ergot mold or ergo mold, E-R-G-O-T, however you want to pronounce that. And it caused the limbs to burn. It caused your limbs to burn. It caused hallucinations. It even caused gangrene in patients. And in the Middle Ages, that was one of the first recorded times mold toxicity was talked about. And then even in the 1940s, they had a problem with the digestive system being affected by heavy amounts of mold. They would call it alimentary toxic alukia, I believe. And what happened is the famines in Russia caused people to eat moldy grain, and they were starting to get bleeding internally, ulcers. They were getting bone marrow issues where they're having bone marrow weakness. They couldn't even keep up with the red blood cell production, even immune suppression problems. And remember, they had black mold within the 1930s up to like the 1960s and 70s, where like even horses were fed hay that had black mold on it. They had the Stachybotrys that you're finding in our areas now. And those horses actually developed bleeding gums and ulcers and skin lesions. And the people that worked with the horses also developed it by breathing in the mold and the spores. So they were taking these types of symptoms and they started to research them. Did that happen in the 1800s? Possibly. But I don't think they had the technology, I guess, to research that. But now in this day and age, we're seeing that people have more genetic variants, more genetic weaknesses than ever before because of the toxicities in our food system. And that's a big difference. The food system, the amounts of all the sugars and all the carbs and the processed foods, especially in the United States, has weakened our digestive system so badly and caused such huge leaky gut that anytime mold or fungals like this come into our body, they will infiltrate, they will attach to the organic material of your organs, and they will grow and feed off of you. So not only is it removing the mold out of the house, but it's also changing your diet. You have to eat low sugar, remove the sugars like the processed sugars, refined sugars. You have to eat, you have to start healing the leaky gut. And people say, how would you do that? Basically, very easily. I'm going to give you straight up. Bone broth, make your own bone broth, even beef or chicken bone broth. Use glutamine, that's an option, L-glutamine to help heal the gut. You can also use butyric acid, B-U-T-Y-R-I-C acid. It's found in raw butter, but you can use butyric acid, butyrin. These are all very researched. So you can use either glutamine, butyric acid, but I always say bone broth to heal your gut. And one of my favorites is hydrogen water. Echo has a really good picture. Echo, E-C-H-O. You use hydrogen water. You drink 2 or 3 glasses, maybe 4 a day. Some even suggest up to 6 to 8 glasses, and it will start to create more hydrogen within your blood and in your body to create more hydrochloric acid. It will actually heal up your gut lining. It's been shown through research. Those are basic things to start healing up the lining. And as you remove it from your house, this is my simple steps. You start to clean up the gut. You want to remove all the excess waste. So you want to make sure you're having proper bowel movements. You want to either do coffee enemas if you can handle it, or colonics, but you have to keep pooping. So you can use oxy powder, like a good magnesium oxide. You can use the intestinal formula by Dr. Scholl's. He has herbs, the intestinal formula #1 that you can use in a capsule to help you go to the restroom with cayenne. And he has certain herbals that actually help agitate the colon to help it move. And remember those two, oxy, maybe intestinal formula, but you have to get rid of the parasites after a while. The parasites will build up. And this, I'm telling you, this will help with mold. You can then use Kim Rogers or Rogers Hood, that's the name of it, rogershood.com, and get like a parasite kit. And I always say start off with a third or half the dosage they recommend, and do it for about a month. Take a couple weeks off and maybe do another round of it at a third or a half of the dosage, and start to clean out the parasites so you start pooping. So you're healing up the leaky gut, you start getting rid of the parasites and all the critters within your gut. And that alone is a huge win. If you get rid of a lot of the parasites, and the herbs that help kill the parasites will also help clean up mold and fungus. It's that good. You then could be more specific with some herbs, which I like with mold. I like Smilax, which is sarsaparilla. Smilax Supreme by Supreme Nutrition Products. I add that in with a parasite cleanse. Smilax Supreme. And I either use that or Noni, N-O-N-I, known as Morinda. So Morinda is a great one. Morinda Supreme, I'm going to write this down. And Smilax, I'm going to write these down for my producer. And Rogers Hood. Okay. So we're going to have that. We have the immunolytics for the testing. We have oats testing. We're putting all this here. Okay. And we have the Rogers Hood. We have the Morinda, Smilax. And I want you to remember, we have the stuff about the bone broth, the glutamine, and butyric acid. So when you start to put this in succession, don't get overwhelmed. Like literally, these are some basic steps. If you get rid of the parasites and heal the lining, you're going to feel a lot better. Truly. Now, could you go back and still have some mold in the blood? Yes. But the Smilax and Morinda will start to clean that out. But it's not a bad idea, though, to get a good holistic healthcare practitioner to maybe do some frequency or muscle testing to maybe find out what you could use, or just research Supreme Nutrition Products and find out good herbs that help kill off mold. These are the two I really recommend. But there's many good herbs out there. With all this, the thing that I think is my favorite is using homeopathic. So I'm going to say with DesBio, I'll put my link up there, but DesBio, they have one that my mom's even on. It's called the MOLD. It's Mold SSR. So I'm going to give you a quick backdrop. I do believe that you need to ask a good homeopathic practitioner or your healthcare practitioner or your primary care doctor if this is good for you. But this is what I've seen worked really well. The Mold SSR is a box series, and I'm going to give you an example right here, okay? And I hope this is not too boring, but I want you guys to see this. If you got to imagine if you're driving right now, but this is a Candida one that I need to take. I actually got to take right now. Now, this is an example, guys. I'll show you. Is it okay if I do that on camera here? But this one's Candida. Now, I'm not saying you go do this and you'd ask your doctor, but like the DesBio kit comes in this small box. It's beautiful. So it's a homeopathy. It's 1 to 10, and they have 10 different strengths. And the practitioners at DesBio are so brilliant, and they found that there are certain combinations of homeopathy that you see here on the box that helps your body get rid of the symptoms, the series symptoms relief. So your body will have a symptom, you guys follow me, a symptom of the infection. So let's say I had mold. I know this is for Candida, but let's say this is for mold. And the Candida causes symptoms of a headache or rashes and such. Well, your body can get so used to the mold that it gets used and adapted to the actual problem or the actual symptom. It's like, oh, it's a headache. It's caused by the mold, and I'm so used to it. I've had it for so long, I just sort of ignore it. That's what your body does. It adapts. And that's what your body does. It's great at adapting. Now, as it adapts to it, you will forget it. And so we don't want your body to forget the symptoms. We need your body to actually remember what it is, like a headache, so that your body will start to fix itself. It will cause all the chemical reactions in your body, all the nuances to go and cleanse the actual symptom using biochemistry and energy and qi. When you go through 2 boxes, I'll go through 2 boxes of these. I'll go to 1 to 10, and after I get done with the 10th one, the next month I'll go from 10 to 1 in reverse. And you'll see a little calendar. It's really easy. That's what I do. A little calendar. It tells you when to take them. So for me, I always say custom. I'll do it. And I'm not saying you do this, but this is how I do it. I'll just take it. Hold on to my tongue. 20 or 30 seconds, but purposes of here, you can hear me. I rub the liquid all around my gums. Now it has a little bit of ethanol in it, 25%. But you don't some experts say don't do anything 20 to 30 minutes around this. Don't drink or anything out 20 to 30 minutes after you take one of these, because the energy of the homeopathy is in your mouth, and it's in the butyric, in your mouth. It's in your mouth. So your body is paying attention to that frequency you just put in. It's sending a telephone call out. That sounds really corny, but it's a telephone call out to remind your body of the symptoms of Candida. To remind it. So it's reminding your body, oh, do you remember the headaches that Candida caused? And you think, well, isn't that going to give you a headache? Like treats like. So if it reminds your body of the symptoms, you may have at times, especially when you get to vial 4 and 5, you may feel a little bit more tired and have a few little symptoms. But you may feel a little crummy, but it's reminding your body how to go and take care of it itself. So after you get done with these 2 boxes of the SSR, you're going to move to the 1Ms and the 10Ms. And those are the ones that actually go after the actual infection. So when you start to pull out the actual infection, after you finish these 2 boxes, you're going to get the 1M or the 10M boxes. Your body will pull those things out, and your body's going to be so good at getting rid of those symptoms, the symptoms that you helped with the first rounds, that you won't feel horrible as you're getting rid of the infection. Now, why is this important? Well, I'm going through this. The memory of the infection is the biggest problem. If you have mold in your body and you think, well, I got rid of it out of my house, I got rid of it out of my kidneys and my blood, you think, well, that should be it. The problem is, if an infection gets in between your cells, or it's infected your cells so long, your cells will have a memory of it, and your cells will respond as if it's there, even when you clean it out. So 2 things can happen with homeopathy. Your homeopathy will help you get rid of the memory of the infection, and it also will help you get rid of the actual infection. That's what I've seen. Some people don't like homeopathy. I love it. It works really well with my patients. I've seen them get tremendous results. I'm serious, getting them desensitized to all forms of mold or Lyme and things of that sort. Desensitized to where your body works so well that you're not having to take so many herbs to all the time kill it off. Your body's so good at getting stronger internally that you remind the body how to work on its own. That's what homeopathy is doing. It's reminding your body how to work on its own, that your body will actually go out and remember what a Lyme bacteria is. It remembers what a mold is. It'll go after it. And there's homeopathy that helps break down histamine. So you're reminding the body and strengthening the body to do things on its own. And that's the key, right? You want your body to be strong on its own. You don't want to be on herbs all your life. Now, there are certain herbs I'm going to stay on all my life because I think they actually help my constitution. They help my strengthening. And there's certain vitamins and minerals from our genetics we may need to be on all our life. But if you can do a lot on your own, that's a really cool thing, right? So remember, homeopathy, like the mold SSR, research that. Ask your primary care practitioner. Look at Des Bio's website. See if there's a practitioner, a naturopath, a homeopathy doctor, a medical doctor. The medical doctor that's the lead doctor in Des Bio is brilliant. And they have put together such great combinations. And I've had patients, and this is not me tapping myself on the back, guys. I want you guys listening. I've had patients that have chronic mold. I've had patients that have chronic Lyme, and they've done these kits and done just these simple things. Get rid of parasites, heal some of the leaky gut, clean up some of these things with these homeopathic remedies, and new lease on life. Literally, like they go, I don't have any more of those symptoms. And I'm just dumbfounded. And I always tell patients when they come to me, I'm the person that can get you around 70, 70, maybe 80% cleaned out. But maybe the last 20% is what you need to do. Your lifestyle changes, your food changes, your exercise routine. That's up to you. But if you look at this small routine, you could get rid of a lot of the mold in your body. Along with getting it out of your house, you could see really tremendous results. Now, homeopathy, in these kits, you don't have to take the full dosage. If you're a very sensitive person, you may only be able to take like a little eyedropper and do a few drops of these homeopathic remedies. Instead of doing 30 drops, you may be able to only do 2 or 3 drops, and that's fine. But try to find somebody who practices this type of healthcare and see if it works for you. You may not agree with it. I get it, because some people out there that are more Western mainstream may think that's kooky, and I totally understand that's maybe what you think. But I've seen it do such good wonders with my patients, to the fact that I'm like, this is how I start my patients. Just right here, what I talked to you about. So I know this is, it's been going on for almost 40 minutes, guys. I'm sorry about that. But when we talk about old historic ways, they used not only like homeopathy with herbs, they used here, I wrote this down, things like they used to burn juniper and sage and resins to help clean out infections of mold within a house. They also would help the liver clean out. So they would do that to the houses in the old days, do some homeopathy if there was a homeopathic doctor in that area. In fact, there used to be homeopathic hospitals that people would go to. And of course, that's a whole nother story why they got rid of them. But people would start to eat foods that were high in sulfur, like garlic and onions and cabbage that actually were detoxifying to clean the body. There are some people that are very sensitive to sulfur, but this is what they used to do. And they would also use clay and charcoal. They would use clay and charcoal like Bentonyte to help bind the toxins. And they would use this in old feed for the animals. They would put charcoal and Bentonyte clay in the feed to help pull the toxins out of the animal. This is what they would do back in the past, and I don't know why it would not work today, because it does. I will say that there are a few modern things. I'm going to look here on my notes here. You want to make sure that you do things like remove the exposure. You want to fix the leaks. You want to improve your ventilation. You want to help discard contaminated materials out of your house. And, you know, you may need a really heavy antifungal. I can say it very well, voriconazole or amphotericin B. Amphotericin B. I've had patients take this, and there are times when I've had to have patients take antifungals, and you're like, "Oh, you would have them take a medication?" Yes. I've had patients that had such severe mold in their body, and they'd have mold that was just so bad on their feet were peeling, and they had mold foot fungus so bad that their nails were falling off. And if you kept their liver clean and you worked on cleaning the liver and kidneys with herbs and such and homeopathy, they could take the antifungal medication. So is it, I say no to all of it? No. If you can use that, use homeopathy. We can put down a few other things. Like I love binders like Bentonyte clay, light amount of charcoal, maybe some zeolite, but you have to be careful because they can be very strong. Antioxidants like NAC, glutathione, vitamin C, alpha lipoic acid, even milk thistle and turmeric are really great. Bitters to help with liver support and even kidney cleansing. Using uva ursi, UVA, URSI, uva ursi. Now, I'm going to put this in our show notes so you guys have this option, but we're going to show you a couple of these different types of herbs that we put down here on the show notes so that you can get an idea of what can be used to help. Now, all this to say, you can help your body clean out and you can get past this. So remember, your organs aren't failing, you're adapting. Your symptoms are messages. So your body is speaking through fatigue. Your body is speaking through fatigue. It's speaking through the skin. It's speaking through digestion and through your breath, how it smells, your brain function. Your body is speaking to you. And remember, your symptoms are messages. And remember, just like the ancestors survived mold for thousands of years, right? Your body carries the same wisdom. So as they survived, your body carries the same wisdom. So I want you to remember, these small consistent steps can shift the terrain and your body can know the way back. Remember that. So I hope this brings some clarity. I hope this was a good podcast for you guys. Remember, we're going to put this stuff in the show notes. I hope you guys do well. Until the next time, remember, if you have mold issues you suspect it, check out these things. Look into these herbs, look into these homeopathics. I'm telling you, it's made wonders in my patients. That easy, okay? Not easy to get rid of all the time. I'm saying that easy to have these steps here that's worked so well with my patients. Until the next time, guys, I hope you guys have a great, blessed day. We're going to put out some more podcasts. And if you enjoy this, please write in the comment section any other subject matter you want to hear about. Like and subscribe and share this with anybody you know that has mold toxicity issues. or suspected from what we talked about today. Had them listen to it. Tell me what you think. We really appreciate it. Until next time here at the Ancient Health Podcast, I'm Dr. Motley. Take it easy. Have a great day.